right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody that's joined us today. Joining me today is Ericka. So she's our National Account Manager. I'm the Onboarding Specialist here at Skimmer, and we put this together. We want to make sure that you guys are ready to invoice, either at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month. I know that time is coming up very, very soon. So we're going to walk you through the process of getting set up for billing. And then if you have any questions as I go through the material, don't hesitate. We have a Q&A box. So if you guys have any questions that come up, definitely put them in the chat. Erica's here to help answer those questions as we go through. And we'll also have a section at the end for questions. So if you want to save them till the end, you can do that as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody. We're going to walk from the very beginning. Everybody is that's registered for this webinar is kind of in a different stage of billing. So we're going to walk through the very beginning and making sure all those settings are configured so that you guys are ready to go. Oh, and Anessa has also joined us. Anessa is one of our account managers here for billing. So as I said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the little Q&A box. Anessa or Ericka would be happy to answer those for you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. All right. Okay, so before we start, it's important to remember that whether your business is, your business model is per month or per stop, if it's plus chemicals or with chemicals, Skimmer gives you the power to bill how you want. If you have parts or chemicals that are routinely used with service, Skimmer will include those in your monthly invoices and allow your customers to auto-pay. Other billing systems treat service and add-ons separately, causing more work for you and multiple invoices. So with Skimmer, you don't have to worry about that because it all can be included in one invoice. It'll also save you time and get paid faster. No more printing out those invoices, mailing them to your customers, or waiting for your checks to come back to the office with cash or wet checks. Skimmer delivers those electronic invoices, it collects payments and automates many of your most tedious billing workflows. So what we're going to cover today is enabling online payments, service rates, readings and dosages, products, work order type settings, invoice settings, tax settings, and payment settings. So it's a lot of settings, but we want to make sure that all of those are set and ready to go so that when you guys get to that invoice generator part, it's just a few clicks. All right, so the first setting that we're going to talk about is enabling your payment. So that's the very first step that we have to do. Skimmer is integrated with Stripe as its merchant for accepting online payments. So ACH payments, credit card, debit cards, and digital wallets like Apple Pay or Google Pay. So to do this, I've attached some screenshots just so you can see the process of how it's going to be done. So it's important to remember that the person that does this, that enables those payments. So we're going to go to settings and payments. The person that does this has to be listed as the owner on the account, because when you click that button, it's going to ask you for the password. So whatever password you use to log into your Skimmer account, you'll have to put it here and click access. So then it's going to take you to a different page, which is the Stripe page, and it's going to ask you for your information so that you guys can get set up. So it's going to ask you for your phone number and then your email address, and then you'll press continue. And then it's going to ask about your business. So however you guys file with the IRS taxes at the end of the year, whenever you guys do taxes, it's going to ask how you file that. So if it's an individual, if it's an LLC, and then you'll press continue. Then we have your professional details, and it's going to ask for your website. So if you have a company website, this is where you would enter it. If you don't have a company website yet, you're more than welcome to just put in getskimmer.com because it does require a website, so you can use getskimmer.com. Then you'll press continue, and it'll ask you for personal details. Sometimes these are already auto-filled. It's going to ask for your name, your address, and then it'll take you to select an account for payouts. So the bank account that you want those payments, the invoices to be coming into, you're going to enter in your routing information, your account number, and you'll press save. The last screen that we're going to see is the review and finish up. So make sure that, all the information that you entered in the previous screens is correct. If you need to make any changes, you can press the little edit button. And then if everything looks correct, you're going to click agree and submit. All right, so I'm going to have you guys try that on your side. I know some of you have not enabled payments yet. So go into settings, go into payments, and then set up payments. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to explore that. If you don't get it done, we are recording this call or this meeting. So we'll send that out to everybody so you guys can review it afterwards. So I'll give you 2 minutes. So we'll say 10 after the hour, we'll continue on to the next section, okay?
Just a reminder, if you have questions as you're moving along here, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box and I'll respond right away.
All right, moving along. One of the first things we're going to talk about is service rates. So your service rates, there's 2 ways of updating your customer service rates. The easiest and the fastest way to do it is through your service rates page. So to get to this page, you're going to go into your customers tab, and then on the right side, you're going to see a green button that says service rates. And on this page, it's really cool because you can update your rates in bulk. So you don't have to click into every customer's profile individually. You can do this all for your customers from the service rates page. And you have the power to assign different rates per customer. For example, so let's say you have some customers that you have on a plus chems model. So it's either per stop plus chems or per month plus chems. And then you have customers that are with chemicals included. You can set that all up in your rate types. And the way to do it when you do it in bulk is you'll see your customers boxes on the left side. So if you click 2 or more of those boxes, you'll see the option to bulk update. So that way it just gets done faster. So now I'm going to have you try it on your side. If you haven't set up your customer rates yet, or if you need to update some of those, go ahead, go into your customers tab, go into that green service rates button, add some service rates and your rate types, and try that edit bulk feature. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes. So at 13 after the hour, we're going to continue on to the next section. All right, we're going to move along now. So we're going to go into readings and dosages. Now, I know some of you guys charge for chemicals. So you charge service plus chem. So if you charge for chemical dosages, Skimmer easily tracks those when you or your tech add chemicals to the route stop. So if you're tracking those dosages through the app, Skimmer keeps track of them and carries them over into the invoice. If some customers don't pay extra for chemical dosages, there's a box that says can include with service. Can include with service, and those it keeps them separate from those that do get charged for their chemicals. So if you have a different pay model for your customers, you can keep those separate by clicking that can include with service box. You'll also notice that there is a cost box and a price box. So the cost is what it costs you as a business owner for that tab. So let's say, for example, it's a tab that you're adding a dosage price for. So what does it cost per tab? And then the price is what you are charging your customer per tab. Okay. So now I'm going to have you try that on your side. Add prices. We're going to go into settings, readings, and dosages. And then you'll see your dosages on the right side. If there are any dosages on there that don't have a price and you charge for, we're going to add prices to those dosages and check the can include with service for any chemicals that are included in your service, or if you offer a variety of rate types. Okay, so I'll give you guys 2 minutes. At 16 after the hour, we'll continue on to the next section. All right, moving along. So we're going to talk about products. Products is exactly as it sounds. Any item that you install on a regular basis or any chemical that you sell in bulk should be part of your products list. So anything like a skimmer basket, pump basket, O-rings, whether your tech marks those products as installs from a route stop or a work order, they will appear as line items on invoices generated for the given period. So in your products, you can add a price, you can decide if that's a taxable product or not. You can add it to a category. So in settings and products, you can specify each product's price and whether it is taxable. So I'm going to have you try that on your side. If you have any products that you need to add that you sell on a regular basis to your customers, you carry around in the trucks, go ahead and add them to your products list, add prices to those, and if they are taxable, go ahead and mark them as taxable. So I know some of you guys have big product lists. Right now, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. At 19 after the hour, we're going to move on.
And to answer one of the questions that was just posted in the QA, a good example would be if you are a with chems model, so you charge your customers a flat monthly rate, but there's one specific item like tabs that you do sell to them that you use here and there for your customers. That would be a good example of a item you would add to products, so you can swipe it as an installed item when needed.
All right. Now we're going to talk about your work order type settings. So work orders are any jobs that you do outside of routine services. So routine pool cleaning. So this can include filter cleans, pool closings, pool openings, repairs, service calls. And with Skimmer, you can invoice your customers for all this work. So let's look at the line item defaults for your work order types so that they go into the invoice generator and have all the important information you'd like them to have. So if we're looking at this screenshot, we see that when I go into settings and I go into work order types, I'm going to click on edit in one of the work orders that I want to invoice for. So one of the work order types that I know that gets invoiced every time, we're going to click edit, and then I'm going to see a box that says line item defaults for Skimmer invoices. So the first line item that we see says it's the line item name. So it's how it's going to display on the invoice. So I can leave it blank to use the work order type name. So if I want it to be called service call or filter clean or repair, I'll just leave it at that. If I want a different name for that type of work order type, then I can put that in there. Then we see the line item description. It gives us the option to use the work needed, the work performed, or I can leave it blank or fill in my own. So I can use the work that's needed. So that box that you see when you create that work order, you can choose to put that information in. You can choose to put in the information for the work that was performed, or you can leave it blank and fill it in yourself. It also gives you the option to include the service date in the description. So if you want that invoice to show the date that that work order was completed, you can check that box. You can also choose to use the line item price. So if you want to use the price for the work order, you'll want to check that box. And if you want to make sure that that work order is taxable, you'll want to check the box as well. Completely up to you how you guys want to set that up. So now I'm going to have you try it on your side. Go into settings and work order types. We're going to select one of those work order types that you invoice for. Make sure that you have the box that says use price from work order if that's the price that you're going to be using. Change the line item name or description, include the service date, choose whether that work order type is going to be taxable, and don't forget to click save at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes for that. So at 23 after the hour, we'll move on. All right, and I know some of you have a lot of work order types. As I said in the beginning, don't worry about it. We're going to send the recording so you guys can review this afterwards if you need to, okay? So the next thing we're going to talk about is your invoicing settings. So Skimmer lets you customize your invoices from the invoice number, the due date, the default invoice message that will show up for all your customers. You have the power to customize the categories you want to tax, so generating invoices is going to be fast and easy. So we can do this by going into settings and invoicing. Now I want to talk about the important AutoPay information. There's 2 boxes. So payment due determines how many days after the invoice is sent until the payment is expected. Pay days before due sets how many days before the due date you want the payment to be submitted. So by default, the pay days before is blank, So when that happens and your customers are on AutoPay, the payment is submitted within 15 minutes of the invoice being sent when you generate those invoices. Now, if you want something different, you can change that. So if, let's say, for example, you generate an invoice on October 1st with a payment due date of net 15 and pay days before due set to 5, the invoice will be paid on October 10th. So that means 5 days before the due date, because we put in pay days before due set to 5. If the payment due date is set to net 15 and pay days before due is set to 0, the invoice will be paid on October 15th. Okay, so just important information because it can get a little tricky. All right, so I'm going to have you guys try that on your side. We're going to go into settings and invoicing. You can go ahead and add a default message, check your payment due dates, select the items that you'd like to mark as taxable. So here you'll be able to see if you want to mark your service, your chemicals, your products as taxable, check your billing information on your invoice, and don't forget to click save at the bottom of the page. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes. At 27 after the hour, we're going to move on. All right, we got 2 more settings to go to, and then I promise it's almost over. Okay, so tax settings. With Skimmer Billing, you can create settings that will help you collect the right taxes for each customer every time. Skimmer gives you the ability to create and label unique tax rates. If you live in an area where certain taxes are applied over and over again, this is great because you only have to create that tax rate one time. And then you can apply it to any customer invoice. So we have tax groups and tax rates. A tax group is a combination of tax rates. So you create the tax rates and then use them to build your tax group. So you can create, so let's say, for example, you have county tax, city tax, and state tax. You can create those separately and then create a group depending on how you charge your customers. Then you apply these tax groups to your service locations, and those taxes will be calculated when generating the invoices, okay? So to do this, we're going to go into settings and we're going to go into taxes. So go ahead, try it on your side, create a tax rate, and we have some examples in there. If you haven't played around with it yet, we have some examples. So create a tax rate, create a tax group, and assign a tax group to your customers. So the way that you're going to assign a tax group to your customers, and to do it easily and fast, you can go into your customers tab. We're going to go to that service rates page that we talked about in the beginning. And then on the right side, you're going to see that you also have the option to enter in your tax groups. If everybody has the same tax group, what you can do is select all your customers, do a bulk update, and then just assign everybody the same tax group, and then have it done that way easily instead of having to click into every customer's profile individually. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys till 31 after the hour. and then we'll move on to the next section, the last setting that we want to talk about. Okay, last setting. So we're going to go into settings and payments. If you want to make sure that your customers get those receipts after they've paid their invoice, we can do that through Skimmer. So we're going to go into settings, we're going to go into payments, and we're going to go down to the box that says payment receipt email settings. You'll see a little box and you can toggle that on. When you turn that on, as soon as a payment is made from your customer, they'll get a receipt for their payment. You can also BCC yourself, so blind carbon copy. So that means that when your customer receives a receipt, you'll get a copy of that receipt as well, if you want to turn that on for yourself as well. So toggle this option on and customize the receipt message from name and email address. So if you see it here, they're coming from Jazmin, and then it shows the email that it's coming from. So go ahead and try that on your side. Go into settings and into payments. If you want to toggle the option on to make sure that your customers get the receipts, add a default message to what that receipt is going to say, and then don't forget to click save. So 2 minutes on that. At 34 after the hour, we'll continue on just to do a little recap. All right. So to recap, Skimmer gives you the power to manage your entire business in one place. Do the work and get paid. All the work completed, the parts that you installed, the chemicals that you dosed, either you or your techs tracked through the app, are logged and saved. Invoices can easily be edited, sent, and tracked from one place. This will minimize room for error and allow you to get your work done faster by managing one system instead of 2 or 3. So now comes the fun part, because now that we've set everything up, we've run routes, we've done work orders, now we're going to run everything through the invoice generator. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to share my Skimmer account, and we're going to run through the invoice generator. And Erica and Anessa, if you want me to show anything specific, please just jump in. We're going to run through it now. Give me 1 second, and then we're going to switch screens.
Awesome. Can't wait.
All right, so now everyone should be able to see my Skimmer screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've done the work, I've run routes, I've tracked dosages, I've done work orders. So now I want to get paid for it, get those invoices sent out quickly and easily. So I'm going to go into billing, I'm going to go into Invoice Generator. And now I choose the time frame that I'm billing for. So for me, I bill at the end of the month. So I'm going to do September 1st through September 30th. I'm going to do my invoice date and my due date. I'm going to set that to October 1st. You can set this up however you'd like. If I wanted to put a message on the invoice, I could put that here. And then it's going to ask if I want to include pool service dosages and installed items, and if I want to do the work orders together. Okay, so I want to do for my pool service and for any work orders that I did throughout the month. Okay,
and keep in mind that, you know, it's very common for pros to invoice for pool service at, say, the first of the month or the last of the month, and then invoice for work orders separately more frequently. This gives you the power to make sure you're getting your invoices out right away for work orders that you complete, so that you're not sitting on that cash until your following billing cycle. So Skimmer gives you the power to do it all at once or separately based on your preference.
all right, so we're going to do a separate invoice for each service location. If I had customers that had more than one service location and I want to combine all of those in one invoice, I could select that second option. And then I want to make sure that I'm doing all my customers, but I also have the option of doing customers with specific tags or invoicing for just one specific customer. I'm going to press continue. And the first tab that we see is our pool service tab. So it's going to ask to customize the pool service line item. So if I want to change this up, I want to say, let's say pool service for September. We see my sample line items start to change, and this is just examples. This is just showing us how our invoice is going to look. And if I wanted to enter a service item description, I could enter it here. And that changes that there, okay? I can choose if I want to include the service dates, or if I don't, it won't show them. And then I'll just see at the bottom here, if I want to customize any line items for each location. I don't. I want all of my invoices to say the same thing. So I'm going to click save and continue.
One other thing on that previous page, Jazmin, that I will add is the pool service item name and the pool service item description. You can set those as defaults in your invoice settings that Jazmin went over with you a few slides ago. And the other great thing is if you scroll down to customize for each location, let's take Bucky Barnes there, for example. Let's say his needs to say, you know, gold package pool service. You know, let's just, he's extra special and he just needs his to say that. The beauty of this is Bucky's will say that. Everyone else's who's blank will get the default up top. And the next time you generate your invoices, Skimmer will remember that Bucky's should say gold package pool service. You do not have to remember to do it every single time. Skimmer takes care of that for you.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to click save and continue, and it's going to take us into our installed items. So as I was talking about products, if we installed any items, mark those as installed from the app, they are going to show up in your installed items page. So it looks like this month I installed a skimmer basket for my customer Bucky. So it looks like it was one with a unit price of 30, and I had marked that as a taxable product. So all I'm doing here is making sure that everything that I installed looks correct. If I wanted to exclude something for the customer, so let's look at Tony Stark. It looks like I installed a floater for him. If I wanted to exclude that from his invoice, I could just click exclude and it takes that off his invoice. Okay. Anything you wanted to add here?
Just want to really reiterate, this is a huge, important piece here and a huge benefit to using billing within Skimmer, that set up your products, all the things you sell, as long as your techs are swiping them to mark them as installed on the app via the route stop, then they will naturally flow here. So you never forget to bill for a part. The price is preset as she has there, but you still have the power to change it. If something happens, you see a huge increase in the price of a chem, you have the power to override the rate, the unit price that's listed right there. So you have all the power, but really this is a huge selling point here. Don't forget to bill for parts. Just swipe them and they'll land here for you.
I'm going to press save and continue now, and it's going to take me to my work orders tab. So since I completed work orders throughout the month, it's asking me, it's kept track of them. So now it comes over with what type of work order it is, how it's going to show up on my invoice. So I wanted to say filter clean monthly. The description is monthly filter cleaning with the quantity, with the price. I don't want this to be taxable, and I can choose if I want to exclude this from the customer's invoice, which I don't. I want to get paid for those filter cleans I did. And then it's going to do that thing for all my customers. So it looks like I also had a repair. It comes in with its price, taxes, all of that is included. It looks like I had a repair here with a product installed in that same work order. So both items are in there for that customer. All of it's been tracked. I don't have to go in and put that I had to put in an O-ring for a customer. It's already tracked because I tracked it through the app when I completed that work order.
Can you scroll down a little bit? Stop right there. Okay, so I want to point out these two work orders Jazmin has right here. The top one says filter clean monthly, and the bottom one is a repair. You'll notice the description field for the filter clean is auto-filled. It says monthly filter cleaning. That's because in her work order type settings, she set the default for the description to automatically include that. You can set the default to automatically include the work needed, the work performed, have it custom, or leave it blank. You'll notice under repair, her description field is blank. And that's really common, right? Because a description for repair is definitely going to vary from customer to customer. But you'll notice under work performed where it says relubed band, clamp, O-ring, no more leak. That's because the tech entered that in the app. And Skimmer makes it easy for you to copy and paste that. If she click the clipboard icons right next to it, and then paste it right into the description. So you can pull from what your tech has entered, correct all of their spelling errors, add more, and be on your way to getting paid.
Awesome. So now I'm going to click save and continue. And it's going to take me to an additional items page. So if there are any additional line items or a fee or a discount that I want to apply to all my customers in bulk, instead of having to do this manually, I can do it directly from our additional items page. So if I needed to add a fee, let's say I want to add a percentage and I want to add a 3% fee to all my customers. I'm going to click save, and now that's added to all my customers. But let's say I don't want to add it to my customer Bucky. I can just easily exclude that, and Bucky will not get that fee. Same thing goes with discount. If I wanted to add a discount to my customers, I can do this as a flat rate or as a percentage as well.
And I'll add here that you may not use this additional items tab every time, right? But when you need it, it's your absolute best friend. Instead of having to go invoice by invoice to add a line item, this will add it for you in bulk. A really, really common example is an annual conditioning treatment. Say you do that every year in June, right? You'll come in here, add the line item, add the rates, and then it automatically applies to everyone. It will save you a ton of time. And like Jazmin said, if you do need to exclude someone, you just go ahead and click their exclusion box there, and it won't apply to them.
All right, so now that we've gone through the tabs, we get to Invoices Preview. So these are all the customers that were serviced from September 1st through September 30th. So it looks like I have 21 invoices. It's showing me how much I have in taxes and how much my total would be. So if I click into Bucky Barnes, let's look at just the details. I see my customer's information, his billing address. I see the gold package pool service. So this was a custom line item that we did for Bucky, and we see it here. We see his service dates, his rate, and then we see any chemicals that were added for this customer that we charge for show up on his invoice. So shock, pH up, tabs, liquid chlorine, and then we had a skimmer basket that was also added for him. So then it gives us our subtotal, our tax, and then our total for the invoice. Okay, so I can either go next and see all my other customers. So if I look at Carol, it looks like she had her, routine services, and she also had her filter cleans that was done as a work order. So you can go through and check all those invoices if you'd like. But from here, you can choose generate 21 invoices, or if you know these are ready to go, you've checked all of them, there's nothing that needs changed, you can click generate and send, and those invoices go out to your customers.
So what I'll reiterate here is, and I hope you saw this in Jazmin's example, is that there's a lot of power here in Skimmer being able to uniquely treat each of your customers based on their service rate model. So she had some that were per month with chems, per month plus chems. That is the beauty of Skimmer being made for pool pros, that treat your commercial customers as one, treat your residential customers as another, and have confidence that you're billing them entirely for all of the work that you did. The last comment that Jazmin made about generating the invoices right there, that blue box in the upper right-hand corner, clicking generate, like she said, will save these invoices as a draft. You get busy, you need to come back to this in the evening, create them, save them, and then you can send them in bulk later. And generate and send will fire them right off to your customers directly. And if your customers are enrolled in AutoPay, that is when the AutoPay will kick in, depending on your net due terms and your pay days before due, that setting that Jazmin went over with you all earlier.
Awesome. So that is our invoice generator. Do you want me to generate the invoices?
Sorry, I was coughing and muted. It's okay. I mean, generate and send, we'll just email them directly off. As you can see here, you're sending 21 invoices. If a customer didn't have an email address on file, it would tell you who they are and that it's not sending. Go ahead and click cancel there, Jazmin. And I just want to show you at a glance, click invoices under billing. So just quickly here, I'll spend 30 seconds. This is your Invoices Dashboard. So this is where you will manage all of your invoices. The outstanding tab, which is the one she has highlighted now, represents all of your invoices that are sent or overdue, and you can filter by those statuses. You can even select them all and resend them in bulk. Exactly right. And then the last thing is the draft tab. right there, that is where your invoices will live if you generate them but don't send them. So you can come back in here, make edits to the invoice, add, delete, and then once they're all ready to go, you can select them all and resend and send them in bulk. So lots of flexibility. The last comment that I'll make here is that blue box that says create invoice. If you're in a position where you want to send a customer an invoice before you've done any work, you can just create a one-off invoice here. You just smart search for your customer and then build out the line items directly. So even if it's not work that's been completed, you still have the power to collect by creating it one-off. Right? Back to you, Jazmin.
Awesome. Okay, the last thing I want to share with everyone is just a few things that we have on the roadmap that are going to be coming very soon. So I'm just going to share my presentation one more time. One second. Okay, so some of the things that we have coming up very soon that our team is currently working on is account credits. Okay, so anytime that you guys need to apply account credits to your customer, that's coming up very soon, along with our QBO integration, so our QuickBooks Online integration. A little later is going to be auto invoicing, invoice due text, and auto pay for work orders. So auto pay currently is used for routine services. Work orders are not included in our auto pay feature. So that is going to be coming soon so that you guys can get paid faster for those work orders. Other than that, were there any questions that anybody had, anything that you want to drop in the Q&A section that I didn't go through that you're still a little confused on? We'd be happy to answer those. You're muted, Erica.
Classic. It's my first time. Nina's asking, how do I print invoices? So over on your invoice dashboard, Jazmin, if you want to.
Yeah, let me open that up again.
Yeah. On the Invoices dashboard that we were on, Nina, before we got out of that.
Give me a second, I signed out. Okay, I'm in. Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, do you see Skimmer?
I see Skimmer.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're in invoices now.
Yes. So if you click the more icon and then click print, that's what will take you to print the invoices. Alrighty. And let's see here. So credit card numbers, how are they entered? Yes. So when you send an invoice to a customer, they can enter their payment info themselves and save it on file for future AutoPay. Or if they reach out to you directly, you can go to their customer profile, click add payment method, and enter their card info there as well. Another question we had was, are partial payments allowed? Yes. So for those of you who have explored our new quotes feature, through that, you can create invoices out of your quotes and send off for partial payment. If a customer has sent you a check and you need to apply that check payment, you would also click that same more icon, click add payment, and add the check payment there. Alrighty, so very, very popular question here just came in. Can I send invoices ahead of service? Example, I send out invoices on September 22nd for pool service for the month of October, due October 1. Yes. So if you go back to the invoice generator, Jazmin, thank you. right. Excuse me. If you go back here, so when you are invoicing here and you want to bill ahead, you will still always put the date range for the previous month. The reason for that is to protect you, to ensure that you are including all extra items that you have sold in addition to your monthly service rate. Your monthly service rate will always auto-populate on your invoices, regardless of which date range you put in here. But by putting the previous month's date range, that will bring in all of your add-ons, your extra parts, your extra chems that are above and beyond that you charge for. So in your case, the example that you gave here, you would type the date range from, let's say, August 22nd to September 22nd. And then from there, you would generate your invoices and send them out. Invoices are printed one by one. So you would go to the Invoices Dashboard, and from there, you would click more on the invoice that needs to be printed and print it from there. The question was, can I print multiple invoices at one time? Any other questions? We have 5 minutes, so plenty of time. Go ahead and drop them in the Q&A and we will get those answered.
You're on mute, Ericka.
My goodness, I swear this is not my first rodeo. Okay, so a question that we had was, I have a customer who is giving me a check payment and the amount is for more than the invoice amount. How do I apply that? When our account credits feature comes out here very shortly, you will be able to accomplish that. You'll be able to go to your customer's profile, add a payment for any amount, and then when your customer is trying to pay an invoice, it will pull from that account credit. As of right now, you cannot enter a value that is over the amount of the invoice. Your best solution here in the immediate future would be to apply the payment for the exact amount, and then just set a note for yourself to apply the remainder of that balance to the following invoice. But that will all be solved here very shortly when our account credits come out. Alrighty, we are at the top of the hour. I'll have Jazmin do our send off, but any other questions you have, you know where to find us, Jazmin.
Awesome. No, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. Hopefully this helped. If you haven't finished setting up for billing, or if you have, just making sure that those settings are configured correctly so you don't have to go in and then figure out what's wrong with the taxes or anything like that, and make sure that all those products are marked as installed from the app so it can carry easily over into the invoice generator. But as I said, this recording will be going out to you guys, and anybody that registered for the webinar or the meeting, the training. So you guys will have that handy to you as you continue to set up your billing and get that ready to go.
And we'll also send out the individual tutorials for the settings as well. So you'll have this full recording, plus if you need assistance in a specific setting, we'll link that as well.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you so much and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Bye.